Hey everyone across the multiverse. In this video, we are going to discuss who is stronger between the hands and Beyonders basically. The hands are from DC Comics and the Beyonders are from Marvel Comics. Now the Beyonders are pretty famous because of period count Beyonder, but the hands are not that famous outside of power scaling community due to them not having that much appearances. So first I will explain who are the hands, then we will go for the Beyonders, and then we will discuss who is stronger between them. Okay, so the hands are also known as super celestials, unseen hands, or the hands of the source. Are a breed of nine omnipotent cosmic entities originating from beyond the source wall in DC Comics. Now, source wall or the source is basically like presence itself. Like basically, source is sometimes called the presence, and the presence is basically the god of the DC Comics. So you can say source is basically the god of the DC Comics. They were generated by the source, ultimate creative force and embodiment of all existing DC cosmology, who act as the architecture and judges of reality basically. Their primary role is to venture into the infinite void known as monitor mind the overvoid. I already explained what's overvoid. Overvoid is basically the canvas where the comics are drawn, and it basically transcended canvas that encompasses and transcends all multiverses architecture. And basically they use connective energy derived from the presence, the source, as I explained before, to birth the entire multiverses from nothing. Each hand is tasked with confronting these multiverses, populating them with life, and ensuring they evolve toward ascension or judgment. If a multiverse fail, becomes stagnant or corrupt, the hands can annihilate entirely, recycling its energy back to source. They rule over the greater omniverse, an infinite collection of multiverses appearing as mere bubble to them, transcending space, time, and lower all dimension hierarchies. So basically, the hand overtake and overlook the entire DC omniverse itself. Like basically everything that exists in DC, they are basically looked upon by the hand itself. Now the members that are famous include Perpetua and others like the one who appeared as Wonder Woman. In Powerscaling terms, they are basically their baseline how outerversal entities with reality warping hacks on an omniversal scale, outscaling most DC comics like monitors or even endless by existing outside the narrative framework operation. So they are even way above monitors who are like top tier DC characters, and even the endless. We all know who are the endless, death of the endless, dream of the endless. They are basically the toppest of top in DC hierarchy. So they are like hands are probably like the second strongest character. Like outside of presence, they might be like the second strongest characters. Now, who are the Beyonders? The Beyonders, sometimes called the Ivory Kings, are a race of enigmatic, nigh-omnipotent, extra-multiversal beings from Marvel Comics, hailing from beyond or outside a higher dimension that transcends the Marvel Omniverse, encompassing all infinite multiverses, timeline, and abstract concept like eternity. They were originally created in the second cosmos, the first multiverse, by the Celestials and engineers and maintainers, tasked with observing, modifying, and sometimes dismantling reality to preserve cosmic balance. Unlike singular entities, they are a collective race of dreamers and destroyers capable of manifesting physical avatars with variable power levels, while their true form remains unknown and infinite. They are responsible for creating artifacts like Cosmic Cube, which evolved into new bonders, and entities like Beyonder, a immature member who once embodied the entire universe. So, in power scaling contrast, they are out for universal monitors with multiversal to omniversal hacks, but their feats often involve coordinated efforts rather than solo dominance. Because after period count Beyonders always worked as like a race, but never individually. Pre.con Beyonder was like probably the second strongest character in the entire DC, if he is not like weaker than True Form Oblivion. But Beyonders themselves, like after the retcon, Beyonders act as a race, and they are like one of the strongest beings in the entire Marvel comics. They value the entire Marvel Omniverse as a finite story to tinker with, but lack directive creative maintenance of DC hands. That is what do you mean that the Beyonders are not involved with Marvel Multiverse, because they are not like looking for the Marvel Multiverse. They come from a different multiverse itself, and from a different dimension, whatever you want to call it, basically. So they are not directly involved with the Marvel Multiverse, but they are part of the Marvel comics. Because now, what are the biggest feats of the hands, basically? Their biggest feat is multiversal creation from void. As I stated, they basically created everything and everything that exists within the DC community, not community, within the DC, like continuity and everything basically that exists within the DC comics. So they also like responsible multiversalization remaking. Obviously, like let's say if they have created everything, they can destroy everything. Like it's something that like they're not like something get corrupted or something can destroy. They not destroy like damage. They can destroy everything that is. One hand, they started Perpetua's corrupted multiverse by infusing it with 7 forces: speed, force, emotional spectrum, etc. Overwriting physics and history. So there it's showing that a single hand is equal to Perpetua because Perpetua is also a member of like the hand itself, and I will explain this in like future. So they also do the omniversal judgment. They basically overlook everything and all of that stuff. They transcendent existence. They exist. They dwell outside the source while viewing infinite multiverses, a bubble granting immeasurable speed, high outverse durability, but trusting on space-time community. So in power scaling terms, they are high outer versus the immeasurable speed. They are not boundless because boundless is omnipotent. They are not omnipotent. They are non-omnipotent. So they are high outer versus with immeasurable to omnipotent speed, omnipotent or not omnipotence, omnipresent speed. Now, what are the biggest feats of Beyonders? They basically omniversal incursion or orchestration. They basically try to destroy everything that exists. They engineer the incursion by using molecule man bombs to collapse entire universes across the 7th cosmos, aiming to prevent domain corruption. They basically started the cosmic afterlife. 3 Beyonders in physical forms killed the entire celestial race across all realities. Then one-shotted the living tribunal, eternity, infinity, and other abstracts like Master Order and Lord Chaos. This is a high multiversal to high outer versal feat itself. So the artifact creation and reality manipulation, they butted cosmic cubes which wrap reality on a universal scale and evolve into beyonders. And now we know what are beyonders. Avatar of our parting heroes, physical meditation down Thor, Hyperion, Starband with energy base engineering celestials. Solid herald tier 2 sky other level in avatars but true form transcend. Now their avatar can be weak, but their avatar they simply avatar like 3 which are high outer versal itself, and obviously their true form is way stronger than their basically avatars. So power scaling like their high outer versal with immeasurable to omnipresent speed. So what are the biggest statement for their hands? The statement from the hands are when this is a statement from the hands. When we create a multiverse, our hope is that life within will follow a path and it will ascend from simple selfishness to state of truth. Highlight their roles as omniversal creator, judges Perpetua sphere even at full power aimed by crisis energy. Now this is the thing. Perpetua even at full power and by crisis energy, she was scared of like hands and thought that they would come and erase her, like basically get one-shotted. So a high outer versal with immeasurable speed character will get one-shotted by hand. That's how strong they are. Now, what are the biggest statement for Beyonders? Now, dreamers, destroyers, and all of reality army who dare stand against us. They are basically dominating that they are destroyers and dreamers of everything that exists within the like their time, but they can also affect the Marvel Omniverse. The Beyond is a engine room of creation. For me, they modify the multiverse like researcher, improvise, and I am omniscient, oversight, transcending even limbo. Now we know what is limbo. It's beyond time and space concept basically. So another thing is that what is their tiers? Their both tiers are basically high outer versal with immeasurable to omnipresent speed. They both are that. They are not omnipotent well because they are not omnipotent, but they are still high outer versal. So who's stronger between them? Let's just start it and let's talk about it. Now the stronger one is the hands. Now you might be like, what the hell, man? Beyonders are so famous. Hands are like someone who barely have few appearances. How can they be stronger than Beyonders? Still, I will explain why. First of all, I will explain why the Beyonders itself is stronger. Then I will like compare a member of what do we call it? A member of the hands to the member of Beyonders, basically. So the hands basically exist outside and overtake the overvoid. Now what is overvoid? Overvoid basically encompasses all of the stories, all of the transcends everything in the DC comics. Basically overvoid is the comics itself. The hands basically oversee all of the comics, and all of the universe appear to them as bubbles. So they are basically omniversal creators who basically deal with the comics itself. They are like kind of what one above all does in Marvel comics, where he basically oversees the comic itself. He does not just oversee the universes or multiverses or infinite universes etc. stuff. He oversees the comic itself. So hands are the ones who are doing this thing for in place of like what do we call it? In place of presence himself. Meanwhile, Beyonder exists outside of Marvel multiverse, infinite Marvel multiverse. So there is a very big gap between them. One is basically existing outside of Marvel multiverse. One is existing outside of comics and deal with the comic itself. So hands are like way above Beyonders in every possible way. Like they are infinitely above Beyonders because Marvel has not stated anything. Like Marvel has not given the cosmology on the level of DC, so that's why. Like now, one above all, obviously one shots the hand because the hands are not omnipotent, but beyonders are not on the level of one above all himself. So that's why the hands are way above beyonders in every scope and cosmology and everything basically. Now I will compare one member of like the hands with the one member of beyonder. Now one member of hand, the most famous is Perpetua, and we all know Perpetua is high outer versal, and she basically as I stated, she is a part of a hand, so obviously her cosmology is same, she exists in overworld and all of that stuff. So one thing, that main thing is that Overvoid, even Darkest Night, even with the power of Dr. Manhattan, and had to use energy, like I think connective energy and something anti-kinetic energy, something like that, has to take all of these things just to fight a weakened Perpetua on equal footing, and only then he was able to defeat her. Now it's said that if Perpetua, not it's said, it's theorized that if Perpetua had her was not weakened and had her full strength, she would have defeated Darkest Night, and we all know Darkest Night is like one of those guys that basically almost overtook the DC comic itself. And Perpetua basically deals with the overvoid, and it directly is part of the hands who basically oversee the overvoid. While Beyonders, 3 members managed to defeat Living Tribunal. Now, right, that's true. Obviously, they managed to defeat Living Tribunal, but which is Living Tribunal? Living Tribunal is an high outer versal character also who oversees the infinite Marvel universe with the part of, like, he basically deals with infinite Marvel universe. He still is not like doing to the comic itself. So that's why Perpetua herself is like way above like comics, not comics, way above the Beyonders. But even though maybe Beyonder, like the whole race can defeat Perpetua in 1v1, like 1 versus Beyonder race. But in a case where like the hand versus Beyonder, the race versus race, the hand will easily mid to high diff at best defeat the Beyonders. So yeah. If you like this video, please make sure to subscribe my channel, hit the bell icon, and let me know what type of video you want to make next. And so I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.